Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today, we're diving into a really cool data science project that connects brands based on shared followers. Kind of like building a social map of who follows who. This project explores brand relationships based on user followership data. So let's break it down step by step. First of all, is the basic thing to do in any data science project by importing different packages. And then after that, we load the data. So we have the data.csv from here, and seeing the first 5 entries, we could see that we have a user ID, then we also have the brand. So these two columns are the basic things that we needed to analyze and manipulate in this project. So by checking the data quality, so we can see that we don't have any null values. So data or df.info gives us the column names and also the number of counts per column, and also we are given the data type of each feature column. 216 entries, so everything, as you can see, is not null. Now we are going to build our network. So first things first, we've got a data set that tells us who follows which brand. So each row has a user ID and a brand name. So we clean the brand names by using this one. So this makes sure that all the brand names are neat, no extra spaces, and follow the same title format. So I mean, for example, for the Nike, N-I-K-A and small n, I-K-I-K-E, O-E, or all caps. So all of them become Nike, just like this one. So all of these things follow the same format. Capital letter first, and then all the rest would be small letters. Then the next thing to do is to list the unique brands. So we do this by grabbing the unique brands in that data set. So we have brands is equal to df brand.unique. So we're working with actual brands present in the data. So which means all of those brands that are not in the data, of course, these are not included in our manipulation or our analysis. And then here's the fun part. We build a dictionary where each brand points to the set of user IDs following it. For example, for the Nike, we have user 1, the user 2, then we also have the user 3, and so on and so forth. And also for the Adidas, we have user 3, user 4, and so on and so forth. So this step number 4, this one, does that. Now let's go to our step number 5. So in this case, we build a directed graph which is using NetworkX to show overlap between brand followers. So for example, for every pair A and B, we check if they have shared followers, and if yes, we draw an arrow from A to B. Just try to imagine point 1 is connected to point 2 and it's connected to point 3. So the direction goes from 1 to 3. But here's the trick, the arrow has a weight. So based on the conditional probability, how likely a Nike follower also follows Adidas. So this means the more shared followers and the smaller the total follower base of the brand, the stronger the connection. Then in our step number 6, we define transcendence function. What does this mean? So here we ask, how well does a brand reach each categories? So we define a metric called transcendence, which captures both how many brands it connects to a certain degree, how strong the connections are, which means a weight. So this gives us an idea of cross-category reach, like how many Pepsi followers also follow Adidas or Apple. Now in step number 7, we calculate transcendence and centrality. What does this really mean? So for each brand, we calculate transcendence to every category. So centrality, which is just the transcendence to each category. Why centrality? Because it tells us that is this brand really strong in its own stuff? So we gather everything into a results table. Now in step number 8, we compute category average transcendence per target category. So let's say, for example, Nike has a transcendence score of 0.4 to tech brands, but on average, sports brands only have 0.2 to tech. That means Nike is doing above average. So we calculate net transcendence for each brand in its own category. So it tells us, is this brand performing better than its peers at connecting with other groups? So having all of these things being said, we now come up with the results, the computation of the transcendence and the centrality. So for the transcendence, Nike, how is it transcendent to sports, to beverage, to tech, and so on and so forth. So we have here that this display goals. So this whole block actually does three things. Select specific columns from the full results. Like we have the brand, which is the name of the brand, the category, which is the category that brand belongs to, centrality, how strong the brand is within its own category, and transcendence, how much influence the brand has on other categories. Makes a copy to avoid modifying the original DF results. This one. And then rounds the number to 4 decimal places for easier reading. Finally, it prints the neatly formatted table. This one. Now let's go to the results. Let's break these results down. So let's first have the centrality. So this is how strong a brand is within its own category. So Adidas, which is 0.3128, and Nike 0.3128 have the highest centrality, showing strong loyalty from their sports followers. Samsung, which is 0.2100, has the lowest, which means that it's not as dominant among its tech followers. Now let's go to transcendence scores. These show how much a brand reaches followers from other categories. So beverage brands. So Coca-Cola has a very high score to sports, 0.5941. So which means lots of Coke drinkers follow sports brands. So Pepsi is more balanced but has a lower influence overall. For the sports brands, Nike and Adidas transcend heavily into beverage and tech. So Adidas even reaches 0.5112 to tech. This means followers of these sports brands are also very interested in tech and beverages. Tech brands, Apple scores really high on sports, which is 0.5774. Their users follow Nike or Adidas too. Samsung scores higher on beverage, which is 0.5557, possibly linked to lifestyle branding. So as you can see, we also have here the graph of the results for the transcendence, and also this was transcendence by category or by brand. Okay, this one is the annotated version, and also we have the brand centrality, which means loyalty within category. So we have this. All right. Okay, so what's our key takeaways from this? So we have crossover power. Almost every brand has high transcendence into at least one other category, so it is great for potential partnerships. So hidden influence. Beverage brands like Coca-Cola show surprising influence on sports fans, which make them ideal for sponsoring sporting events. So Apple fans like Adidas or Nike are likely due to shared lifestyle values like design, innovation, and fitness. Samsung is actually a bit of an outlier because it has lower centrality and a slightly weaker cross-category impact. So this analysis helps us identify which brands are category leaders or versus cross-category influencers. So it's valuable for marketing strategy, partnership opportunities, understanding audience behavior.